I've been thinking about making this video for a while now because honestly, I don't think I belong here anymore. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean nursing itself, because the truth is, I actually think nursing gave me a lot. It taught me how to communicate with people, how to stay calm under pressure, how to think critically, how to care for people during some of the worst moments of their lives. And I'll always respect this profession for that. But I think what's been weighing on me lately is the culture that surrounds it. And I know a lot of nurses can relate to this. You know, the politics, the constant feeling of being watched, the gossip, the nitpicking. One small thing that you do wrong gets magnified, while all the good you do becomes quietly expected. And I know I'm not the only nurse who feels this way. I think a lot of nurses are exhausted emotionally, and it's not because they can't handle the patient care, but it's the environment around the job. Whether you work in a hospital, whether you work in an outpatient setting, whether you work doing, telephonic nursing, there's many things we can get into, right? Hospital nurses, I understand how it is. I spent almost 7 years of my career in the hospital between progressive care and emergency care. I've worked in outpatient pain management. I've done mobile IVs. I've done, pretty much everything you can think of. And I think it gets to a point where it builds up and you just start to question, is this for me anymore? It's like eventually you stop feeling like a human being and you start feeling like you're constantly being evaluated, or your shifts, you spend more time worried about how to protect yourself so you don't get sued. Whether it's, it could be a difficult patient, it could be a terrible doctor you're working alongside, it could be staff that is not looking out for each other. You know, and it's weird because externally people think you're doing fine. You show up, you do your job, you help your patients, you help your coworkers, you train people, you stay professional. But internally, you start feeling disconnected. And you start questioning if this environment still aligns with who you are as a person. And for me personally, I think that's where I'm at. I've been a nurse since 2016. And, outside of nursing, I have many different interests and hobbies. I'm a licensed barber as well. And I've actually been cutting hair for longer than I've been a nurse. I'm a musician. I love making music. So, I start to come to this inflection point where I'm getting older. I'm going to be 34 this year. I have three small children. I have a family. And it makes it tough, right? Because a lot of us feel chained to the jobs, whether it be for the money, the benefits, your insurance, or whether it be the work week, right? If you would do a traditional nursing schedule, you work 12 hours, and that's very appealing, of course. But it still gets to a point where, at least for me personally, this is me speaking, I can't speak for anybody else. It gets to a point where you really start to think, how much longer can I do this? I realize I'm craving more freedom. I want to be creative. I want more authenticity. I want less politics, less pretending, less feeling like I gotta guard myself because I can't divulge to coworkers because I know it's going to be used against me. And this all starts to build up. And this is what makes it hard when you're an adult with responsibilities. And I know many of you can feel this, right? It's not just as simple as walking away and magically reinventing yourself. And that feeling of being stuck is tough. Between stability and happiness. And again, I'm not saying nursing is bad. This is not me attacking anybody. I know there's amazing nurses, amazing managers, amazing workplaces out there. And oftentimes, for example, you cannot define an entire hospital by one unit. There's so many different cultures on every floor, and it doesn't make sense, right? Why? Why in a hospital with a singular name can it be different from floor to floor? This is the challenge to create a congruency in a culture that is cohesive. I just think some of us quietly reach the point where we realize we've changed, but they haven't. What we value changes, what drains us changes, what fulfills us changes. And maybe part of growing up is being honest and admitting when something no longer feels aligned, even if it once did. I don't really know what the future looks like for me yet, but I know I want to pivot into more of my interests. I want to start making more content. I want to start making more music. And all of that is increasingly more difficult when I'm balancing not only my work schedule, my wife's work schedule, her being in nurse practitioner school, us raising three small children. My free time exists between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And I'm chronically sleep deprived, chronically stressed. And if you're a nurse out there who's been feeling this way too, I just want you to know you're probably not alone. And I'd love, love, love for you to share your feelings on this video and tell me if you can relate and what you did. Maybe you made it out. I've seen a lot of nurses pivot to content or they become influencers. They work with different companies. I think there's a lot of interesting jobs out there. I've stepped away from the hospital setting as of almost 4 years ago, and I've been in a telephonic based position, and I've largely enjoyed it. I love what I do. I'm very good at what I do. I'm very patient centered, right? And the challenge for me is just the culture, the environment. You know, I think we're all adults at the end of the day. If there's things that bother us, we should be able to speak to each other. But things, things don't work out that way. Especially everyone has different principles and values. For me, I value authenticity. I value being able to speak directly to somebody if you have an issue. I don't appreciate people talking behind each other's backs. I don't like doing that. I never feel good doing that, right? And we're adults. It's you don't need to tattletale, okay? So, yeah, this is one of those days where you have that feeling. You have a couple days off, you shake it off, you go back to work. It's like, okay, I got through it. But this is one of those feelings where I really start to think, man, it's either now or never, you know? And that doesn't mean you need to quit everything and make a drastic decision. You can quietly build on the side, and that's what I plan on doing. I plan to quietly build something that is going to be fruitful for me and with all intention for my family. And I know I have the skills. I have, a very big passion for music. I'm very good with audio, engineering, mixing. I have more microphones than anybody could dream of, honestly. I have a beautiful music studio. I have my barbershop that's right over there where I take clients. And this is a wake up call. Nothing lasts forever, and you choose to be stuck. You make a choice. Whatever decision it is, it's understandable, but you make a choice. And this is me speaking to myself. I'm making a choice, right? I can either be miserable and continue down the same path and then grow bitter and old and be 40 plus, 50 plus, and just wish I changed and wish that, that things worked out better. And, or I can make the decision and say, you know what? I can be in control of my life. I can make a choice to better things for me and have a better outcome, which will be beneficial for everybody. I want my kids to grow up in a loving, happy home. I want them to feel that their father didn't just give up, you know? And that's honestly how I feel now. 30 hits you so fast. I became a nurse at 23, I think 23 or 24 years old, I think right before my 24th birthday. And I thought, man, I was on top of the world. I bought my first house. I was making music on my days off. Like, went the whole, went that whole route, right? And now I get here and I think 10 years later, oh my God, man, life has flown by just like that. And I refuse to let the next 10 years look like I didn't have the reins in my hands and direct the horse where to go, you know? So, uh, the purpose of this video is A, me speaking life, right? Speak it into existence. Speak the life I want into existence, and hopefully motivate someone else out there that's feeling the same way, because you're definitely not alone. And I am so grateful of the nurses out there who still preserve humanity and dignity and respect. And that is a dying breed of nurses nowadays, because it gets the best of them and they turn bitter, they turn sour, and nobody wants to deal with that. So, shout out to you if you're a nurse and you're going through a struggle. You're not alone. Would love for you to comment your story and share your feelings, because I know that this is going to reach some people. And please subscribe, because I look forward to making more content, whether it be music related, nursing related, lifestyle, people with kids. That's the route I want to go down for now, until I can figure out kind of where this takes me, And I still plan to, continue my passions, my barbering, my nursing, and I'll dive deeper into a little bit more of those topics on a later video. But yeah, no, you're not alone, and you do matter. Your life matters, and you can change your life. So let's toast to positivity, and let's not only hope for the best, but work on practical steps to make that happen, because that's all we can do at the end of the day. You get a chance every day you wake up. Don't waste it. You got this. Take care, everyone.